Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajadana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajadana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajadana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajadana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Jaya Radha Madhav Radha Madhav Radhe, Jaya Radha Madhav Radha Madhav Radhe, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Gaura Timanandi. Jayam Vishupad Paramahamsa Pri Rajgasaja Stotra Satya Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Sarabhai Sarandarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Sri Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Kandi Biti Founder Acharyas Divine Grace Sri Prabhupada Ki Namacharyas Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Samaveta Bhakti Vrinda Ki Harinama Sankirtan Ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Danitai Gaura Pimarande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and to Sri Gauranga. All glories to Sri Prabhupada Ki. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksurinmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaisnavam Shyam Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakanditam Scha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tatakantana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Vyaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Nara Narayana Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayesha badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed or practically to nil, and the loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam Tamasloka Charitam Shakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreyasaya Lokasya Dhanyam Swasthaya Namaha. This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, the Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Sarabhyai Namaha Om Sarabhyai Namaha Om Sarabhyai Namaha Mukam karoti vasalam pangom langayate girim yat kripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum dinataranam Yat kripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum dinataranam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Welcome.
Maharaj, they are sevak, they are doing this tourist service from Kolkata is come.
Tourist?
Tourist service. In the bus, they bring
Okay.
people. So
Okay, very
I
good.
met them in the bus and invited them for the class.
Yes, very good. Hare Krishna. So we are continuing to read from first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 8, entitled Prayers by Queen Kunti. And today we are reading text 31, right? 3:1.
Tomorrow 3:121.
No, 1:8:31.
1:8:31.
1:8:31. Yes. Yes. You're going to Navadvip this morning, is it?
Yes, Maharaj.
Right. Okay. Gopi Adade Twai Kritagasi Dama Tavad Ya Te Dasasru Kalilanjana Sambramaksham Vakram Niniya Bhaya Bhavanaya Stitasya Sa Mam Vimohayati Dhir Api Yad Vibheti. Gopyadade Twai Kritagasidamathabad Yate Dasasru Kalilanjana Sambramaksham Vaktram Niniya Bhaya Bhavanaya Stitasya Samam Vimohayati Bhir Apiyad Bibheti. Gopyadade Twayi Kritagasidamatavad Yate Dadasru Kalilinjana Sambramaksham Vaktram Niniya Bhaya Bhavanaya Stitasya Samam Vimohayati Bhirapi Adhibheti. Gopyadade Twayi Kritagasidamatavad Yate Dadasru Kalilanjana Sambramaksham Vaktram Niniya Bhaya Bhavanaya Stitasya Samam Vimohayati Bhirapi Adhibheti.
Gopyadade Tvai Krutagasidamadhava
tava
yate dasastru kalilanjana sambhamaksham
yate dasasru kalilanjana sambramaksham
Vaktram niniya bhayabavanaya stitasya
Bhaktram viniya bhayabavanaya stitasya
Samam vimohayati virapiyat viveti
Samam vimohayati bhirapi yad viveti Gopya dade tvayi kritagasi damatava
Yadvai kritagasidamatavad
Yate dasastru kalilanjana sambhamaksham
Yate dasasru kalilanjana samraksham
Vaktram niniya bhayabavanaya stitasya
Bhaktam niniya bhayabavanaya stitasya
Samam vimohayati bhirapi yad viveti
Samam vimoyati vidapiyadviveti Gopadade taikitagashi damatavad
Gopyadade tvayi kritagasi damatavad
Yate dasasru kalilanjana sambhama
Yate dasasru kalilanjana sambhamaksham
Bhaktam niniya bhaya bhavanaya stisha
Vaktram niniya bhayabavanaya sahistitasya
Samam vimahati virapi yat viveti
Samam vimohayati bhirapi yad viveti
Gopi,
Gopi
the cowherd lady, Yashoda, Adade, took up, Twayi, on your, Kritagasi, creating disturbances by breaking the butter pot, Dama, rope, Tavat, at that time, Ya, that which, Te, your, Dasa, situation, Asru Kalila, overflooded with tears, Anjana, ointment, Sambrama, perturbed, Aksham, eyes, Vaktram, face, Niniya, downwards, Bhayabhavanaya, by thoughts of fear, Stitasya, of the situation, Sa, that, Mam, me, Vimohayati, bewilders, Bhi-api, even fear personified, Yat, whom, Bibheti, is afraid. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Let's see if this persists. Yes, you can. You can sit down and let's see how this works.
Be careful, Tulsi is behind you.
Yes. Translation. My dear Krishna, this is Queen Kunti speaking. This whole section is a series of wonderful prayers offered by Queen Kunti to Lord Krishna after the battle of Kurukshetra, when Krishna is about to return to Dwarka. My dear Krishna, Yashoda took up a rope to bind you when you committed an offense. Krishna commits offenses. And your perturbed eyes overflooded with tears, which washed the mascara from your eyes. Mm. And you were afraid, though fear personified is afraid of you. And this sight is bewildering to me. And kindly repeat after me. My dear Krishna,
My dear Krishna,
Yashoda took up a rope
Yashoda took up a rope
to bind you
to bind you
when you committed an offense.
when you committed an offense,
And your perturbed eyes
and your perturbed eyes
overflooded with tears,
overflooded with tears,
which washed the mascara
which washed the mascara
from your eyes.
from your eyes,
And you were afraid,
and you were afraid,
though fear personified
though fear personified
is afraid of you.
is afraid of you.
This sight
This sight
is bewildering to me.
is bewildering to me.
Purport. Here is another explanation of the bewilderment created by the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord is the supreme in all circumstances, as already explained. Here is a specific example of the Lord's being the supreme, and at the same time a plaything in the presence of his pure devotee. The Lord's pure devotee renders service unto the Lord out of unalloyed love only. And while discharging such devotional service, the pure devotee forgets the position of the Supreme Lord. No more. Huh? So I think it's okay. Yeah. The Supreme Lord also accepts the loving service of his devotees when relishably, the Supreme Lord also accepts the loving service of his devotees. Whoops, you have to come back.
Just short.
Okay, small.
There's a cloud, but then behind the cloud there is a clear.
Okay. Okay. Everyone gets their turn.
You have to serve the speaker.
Why not? So the Supreme Lord also accepts the loving service of his devotees more relishably when the service is rendered spontaneously out of pure affection, without anything of reverential admiration. Generally, the Lord is worshipped by the devotees in a reverential attitude, but the Lord is meticulously pleased. Sit down. Relax, relax. To go or not to go? To be or not to be?
Master,
I think we should go. Yeah. Generally, the Lord is worshipped by the devotees in a reverential attitude, But the Lord is meticulously pleased when the devotee, out of pure affection and love, considers the Lord to be less important than himself. The Lord's pastimes in the original abode of Goloka Vrindavan are exchanged in that spirit. The friends of Krishna consider him one of them. They do not consider him to be of reverential importance. The parents of the Lord, who are all pure devotees, consider him a child only. The Lord accepts the chastisements of the parents more cheerfully than the prayers of the Vedic hymns. Similarly, he accepts the reproaches of his fiancés more palatably than the Vedic hymns. When Lord Krishna was present in this material world to manifest his eternal pastimes of the transcendental realm of Goloka Vrindavan as an attraction for the people in general, he displayed a unique picture of subordination before his foster mother, Yashoda. The Lord, in his naturally childish, playful activities, used to spoil the stocked butter of Mother Yashoda by breaking the pots and distributing the contents to his friends and the playmates, including the celebrated monkeys of Vrindavan, Haribol, celebrated monkeys, who took advantage of the Lord's munificence. Mother Yashoda saw this, and out of her pure love, she wanted to make a show of punishment for her transcendental child. She took up a rope and threatened the Lord that she would tie him up, as is generally done in the ordinary household. Seeing the rope in the hands of Mother Yashoda, the Lord bowed down his head and began to weep like a child, and tears rolled down his cheeks, washing off the black ointment smeared about his beautiful eyes. This picture of the Lord is adored by Kunti Devi because she is conscious of the Lord's supreme position. He is feared, often by fear personified, yet he is afraid of his mother, who wanted to punish him, just in an ordinary manner. Kunti was conscious of the exalted position of Krishna, whereas Yashoda was not. Therefore, Yashoda's position was more exalted than Kunti's. Mother Yashoda got the Lord as her child, and the Lord made her forget altogether that her child was the Lord himself. If Mother Yashoda had been conscious of the exalted position of the Lord, she would certainly have hesitated to punish the Lord. But she was made to forget this situation because the Lord wanted to make a complete gesture of childishness before the affectionate Yashoda. This exchange of love between the mother and the son was performed in a natural way, and Kunti, remembering the scene, was bewildered, and she could do nothing but praise the transcendental filial love. Indirectly, Mother Yashoda is praised for her unique position of love, for she could control even the all-powerful Lord as her beloved child. Translation again. My dear Krishna, Yashoda took up a rope to bind you when you committed an offense, and your perturbed eyes overflooded with tears, which washed the mascara from your eyes, and you were afraid, though fear personified is afraid of you. And this sight is bewildering to me. Yeah. So we get a little glimpse, a little understanding of how Krishna, when he descends in this material world, he displays, he manifests different types of relationship with his devotees. The previous verse we read yesterday was also in reference to how the Lord's pastimes are bewildering, not easy to understand. Krishna, who is described and accepted as the Supreme Personality of Godhead by all the Vedic literatures, by so many great personalities, when he descends in the material world, especially his original pastimes that are eternally being enacted in the spiritual world, he appears like an ordinary person. That's also mentioned by the Lord in the Bhagavad Gita itself. Avajananti mam buddha manushim tanumasritam param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. That foolish people, they think that I am an ordinary human being, because actually Krishna acts out perfectly as a human being in his pastimes of Vrindavan. And these pastimes of Vrindavan, which are the most, in many ways actually the most confidential pastimes, largely because they are the most confidential pastimes, they are the most appealing, the most pleasing actually to the Lord's devotees. So here it's nicely explained how Mother Yashoda, as the mother, as the foster mother of Lord Krishna, she had this very unique position of playing the role of being superior to the Lord. Of course, we know nobody can be more superior than God, but these are the, we could say, very unique and very confidential pastimes of the Lord. These pastimes of the Lord are eternally going on in the spiritual world, And occasionally, very occasionally, how occasionally? Once in the life of Lord Brahma, once in one day, actually not in the life of Brahma, in one day. Every day of Lord Brahma, or once in a day of Lord Brahma, which is actually billions and billions of years in our calculation, the Lord displays these pastimes, which he did actually just like 5,000 years ago, to to give an opportunity to the conditioned souls in the material world. We are all conditioned in this material world by the three modes of material nature, which prevent us from understanding so many things, which prevent us from understanding who we are, and especially which prevent us from understanding what is our personal relationship with Krishna. Every living entity, not only in the human species, and also in all different species, every living entity is actually hankering, longing for love and affection, isn't it? We see this in the material world. Everyone is seeking to establish some friendly relationship or some loving relationship with others. We cannot actually live without such love and affection, because that is our nature. As it is described, Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachit Ananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Krishna, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he has these three qualities of being Sat, eternal, Chit, full of knowledge, and Ananda, full of happiness. And he also has Vigraha. Vigraha means form. Form means person. Intelligence means person. So Krishna, God, is actually the original person. And we are, just like in the Bible it mentions, that man is created at the image of God. That's clearly explained. We are the reflection. Actually, in the Bhagavad Gita, as we know, it clearly explains Mama evangsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. We are the amsha. Amsha means particle, part and parcel. The nice and simple example to help us understand. Today we cannot see the sun. We're getting some rain. But when the sun is there, the sun, although very, very far away, through its rays, is giving both light and heat, isn't it? Yeah. So we are like this particle. We are like the rays of the sun. We have the same quality as the Lord has, and the same qualities of Sat, Chit, Ananda. We are also eternal. Sat, Chit, actually we are full of knowledge, but at present we are covered, that knowledge is covered by the modes of material nature. And Ananda, we are seeking. Prabhupada would use the term, it is a birthright. It is the birthright of all living entities to be happy, isn't it? We all are seeking happiness. We come to Mayapur to be happy. Especially, yeah. We go and see some friends, isn't it? People that can reciprocate with us to be happy. It is the natural tendency and the basic need for all living entities. But we are generally because we are not having this knowledge, this transcendental knowledge, especially what is nicely being explained here. This is very deep subject matter, which is actually in many ways the essence of, we say, Krishna consciousness. The essence of the highest consciousness is the knowledge of the rasa. Rasa means relationship. Rasa means the loving exchanges that are meant to be displayed between two living entities. So generally, those who accept the concept of God, they accept the Lord in a reverential mood. God is so great and I'm so insignificant, which is true, of course. But in the pastimes of Vrindavan, and that's why the pastimes of Vrindavan are so special and so attractive, the Lord allows his devotees to punish him, like Mother Yashoda. The Lord allows his devotees to take a superior position. So this is a very big science, actually, which is nicely described in one of the important books written by our Goswamis, the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, who are the direct and immediate associates of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who appeared 500 years ago, to actually reveal this whole dimension of our loving relationship, what is meant to be, what we are meant to to evoke, actually, because all of us, all living entities, not only in the human form, in all different species of life, all living entities have this natural tendency, natural ability to actually awaken one's loving relationship with the Lord, with Krishna, and that is especially meant to happen when we are fortunate to attain this human form of life. Human form of life is especially awarded after a very long evolutionary process, so that we can actually begin to awaken our consciousness to what is being described, especially in such literatures as Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. And of course, there's so many literatures of all the various Vedic writings. The culmination, that's why in the Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter, verse number 2, Raja Vidya. Vidya means knowledge. Raja, king, the king of knowledge. Raja Vidya, Raja Guhyam, most confidential knowledge is that knowledge that Krishna reveals to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita. And that knowledge actually is preliminary knowledge, is basic knowledge in the Bhagavad Gita. But when we come to the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is a more deeply presented. More confidential knowledge is actually revealed within the pages of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is described as the Grantaraj. There is Raja Vidya that is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, and then the culmination actually of this Raja Vidya, it is further elaborated within the pages of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and especially, of course, here we're getting a little glimpse. Queen Kunti, this is the first canto. There are 12 cantos. It is in the in the 10th canto especially, where these very confidential topics are actually being presented. And we find at different places, like here, this particular section great devotees like Queen Kunti, she is remembering Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan and and praising him actually because she understands him as being, although he is her nephew, she understands him to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in this way, she's offering these wonderful prayers. And she's praising Krishna's mother, Krishna's foster mother. Krishna has two mothers. His real mother, Devaki, Vasudeva and Devaki. Actually, Krishna has many mothers. But ultimately, we are all, subordinate to him. But it's part of, we call Leela, Krishna's Leela, Krishna's pastimes, which are eternally taking place in Goloka Vrindavan. There is Goloka Vrindavan in the spiritual world, and there is Gokula. There is, in this material world, on this planet, Earth. That's why this planet Earth is praised in the Shastras and Vedic literatures as being the most auspicious place in the whole material world, because it is here that Krishna chooses to perform so many pastimes, especially on this planet. The most unique place of the Lord's pastimes is in Vrindavan. That's why Vrindavan, the devotees of the Lord are constantly remembering these pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan, which are a replica of those eternal pastimes in the spiritual world. So the perfection of life actually is to come to know about who is Krishna and about these extraordinary pastimes in the form of different types of relationship, different types of rasa that we can have with the Lord. And actually we come to know from Shastra, we come to know from our acharyas that all of us, just like in the material world, somebody finds himself to be the son of such and such. Then after some years, he gets married, he becomes a father, then he has a son or a daughter, whatever. So we experience different relationships in the material world. But those relationships are all on the bodily platform, and therefore they're temporary. They're not perfect. The relationships in the material world are generally a cause of suffering because they are they're not the real eternal, fully satisfying relationships that actually we are seeking, that we are looking for. And therefore, when we are fortunate to come in contact with this knowledge and we come to know about Krishna's original transcendental relationships with his devotees in Vrindavan, which again is giving us an idea of what is eternally taking place in the spiritual world, then when we cultivate this knowledge, when we learn through the process of devotion, of devotional service, what we call bhakti yoga, then we we can revive what is our individual eternal relationship with Krishna. We take on different relationships in the material world, but on the transcendental platform, each one of us, we have a particular relationship with Krishna that we don't know about right now. But that, by the process recommended in the Shastra, by purifying our consciousness by by this recommended process. When one reaches a particular stage or level, one can come to know one's eternal relationship with the Lord. So, and it is only when we are cultivating this knowledge that we can actually begin to feel completely happy and satisfied, as we were discussing a little earlier. It is very natural for all living entities to seek out this type of permanent, eternal relationship, which is meant to be had with the Lord. And of course, one also establishes loving relationships with the Lord's devotees. And as a matter of fact, how well we can establish relationships amongst ourselves as devotees will help us eventually establish our eternal natural relationship with Krishna. Yeah. So it's like what do you call it? Like a playground or testing ground, because all of us we have different situations based on our previous activities. That's called the law of karma. And those who are very fortunate finally get an opportunity to come to Sridham, Mayapur, or such holy place, come in contact with devotees, come in contact with this knowledge, and simply by hearing such wonderful prayers and different stories, different instructions that are given in the Shastra, if we do this on a regular basis means on a daily basis, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, it is called. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, Bhagavati, Uttamasloke, Bhaktir Bhavati Naishiki. Then this bhakti means actually this loving propensity we all have. Krishna Bhakti Nitya Siddha. Nitya Siddha, it is the eternal position, the eternal quality actually of all living entities. Krishna Bhakti Nitya Siddha Sadhya Kabuno. It's nothing that we get from outside, it's already within us. Simply it needs to be awakened. And how it is awakened? Sravanadi Sudachite. Kara Iudo is simply by the process of hearing, and especially Krishna Bhakti Janma Mulhoy Sadhu Sangha. By the good association of devotees, this Krishna Bhakti becomes awakened within the heart. So this is very very nice that even in the first canto we are jumping to the 10th canto by the mercy of Queen Kunti Devi, getting a little glimpse of Krishna's pastimes. And this one last point, Krishna's pastimes, especially in Vrindavan, actually sometimes, like one of the questions I will be answering today, I'm meeting some devotees and they prepared a series of questions in connection with Varnashram. And one of the questions is, does Varnashram mean actually only village life? I mean, do we have to live in a village to actually practice Varnashram? I guess that question is there. So, because in our modern day society, as we know, people live in Calcutta, or people live in Delhi, or majority of people live in cities, isn't it? And other than coming once in a while, to Mayapur is like village. compared to Calcutta, right? It is village. We call Mayapur village. To visit a village is one thing. To live in a village is another thing. It's a different mindset. So most people, because we've been We've been conditioned, and we are very heavily conditioned to live in a particular lifestyle. You just press a button, you get electricity. You press another button, you get television, whatever, modern gadgets. We get so many facilities. But when of course, in villages now also you press buttons. Our villages have become like urban cities, urban villages. But the original simplified villages, it's like, you get your water from the well, and you do things more manually, more naturally actually. You spend more time outside. Nowadays people spend most of their time inside and don't eat proper food, etc., and that's why they're not healthy. So the idea is that actually one can practice varnashram anywhere, but the full spectrum, the full, we can say, manifestation of varnashrama, where one needs to actually interact with the land. There's no land here. One needs to interact with the land, with the soil, and also with cows. We're planning to have our Goshala here soon. That you can't have in the city. Okay, at best, if you're living in a 20 high-rise apartment, you have a little balcony, 3 by 6, whatever. That's your contact with nature. You can have a few flower pots, which is recommended, of course. You can even grow some tomatoes, but you can't keep a cow. You'll have a lot of neighbors complaining about you. And it's just like, so village life is actually very central to Vedic culture, very central to varnashram. Although one can practice and follow some of the principles of varnashrama anywhere, but it is especially meant, yeah. And so the point I wanted to make is that not only here, of course, we basically get a glimpse of, we get both. We get primarily a glimpse of the spiritual transcendental relationship that exists, for example, between Mother Yashoda and Krishna. That Krishna, although he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even when he's a child, because he performs activities that are like superhuman, but he perfectly plays the role of a small child, isn't it? So much so that the residents of Vrindavan, they don't know. They don't know that Krishna is God. Otherwise, they could not have that type of relationship. Mother Yashoda, if she knew that Krishna is God, she would never punish him. But because so that is Yoga Maya. So the other thing is that Vrindavan, the lifestyle of the residents of Vrindavan, not only opens the door to understanding and actually living out these transcendental relationships, but also the lifestyle in Vrindavan helps us to know about how we should be living in connection with the land, in connection with the cows, as Krishna perfectly displays every day when he and Balaram and his cowherd friends, yes, go out in the pastures in the different forests of Vrindavan. So Queen Kunti basically is praising Mother Yashoda and also praising Krishna that you manifested these very wonderful pastimes. That although you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you played the role perfectly well of a small child, and this is not at all easy to understand. This is bewildering. So we can take a few minutes for any thoughts or comments. Yes. Mm.
So Maharaj, whenever we come to this some dham like Vrindavan or Mayapur,
Yes.
automatically our joyfulness we came from inside,
Yes.
and we feel very good.
Yes.
But whenever we again go back to our
Yeah.
that place,
So just stay here.
but
Or make plans to relocate.
yes, I am planning maybe in 4 or 5 years.
And don't take 4 or 5 years. 4 or 5 years. Well, the thing is, not everyone can stay in a holy dham like Mayapur and Vrindavan, but everyone can make one's home like holy dham, isn't it? That is what our acharyas recommend and teach us, that just like in your home you have Lord Jagannath, no? Jagannath.
Jagannath and Ram, Sita, Lakshman, Hanuman.
Yes. So your home is also dham, anywhere, any place where the Lord resides, any place where His devotees chant the holy name and perform devotional service. That is not ordinary place. So like this, we we need to make. We need to create. That is called, what is it? Mathura Bhasa. Sadhu Sangha, Nama Kirtan, Bhagavata Sravana. We're doing Bhagavata Sravana right now. Mathura Vasa, residing in Mathura Vrindavan, or creating the mood or the atmosphere of Mathura Vrindavan. So, in this way, it's a question of living in Vrindavan is not a physical thing. It's a question of, yeah, I guess we could say mindset, setting the mind, finding the proper setting. Yes.
Hello, Maharaj, I have a question in my mind.
Yes.
In our age, the lifestyle we are living right now. So we are in age groups of 20, 24, and 25.
Yeah.
So we have our career to build.
Huh?
We have a career to build our careers. And
Career.
And we have to balance our spiritual life also and progress in our spiritual life
Your
also.
career is meant to be Krishna conscious. That's the main career.
So
Everything else is secondary.
but our parents have forced us to do just material thing and everything, but we want to follow this also. So how to balance both?
Yes, that is a great science. The idea is that if we read on a regular basis and hear from Lord Krishna's instructions in the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam, we will know how to balance. We have this body, we have family, we have so many different material, we could say, duties or responsibilities, but we can learn, we should learn, we must learn to balance these two realities of life. We have the material dimension of life, we have this material body that we have to look after every day. If we don't give food to this body, if we don't give rest to this body, we will not be able to function properly. But the food that we give to this body should be spiritual food, food that we offer to Krishna. Then we will be nourished simultaneously, both physically as well as spiritually. So it is a science to learn how to look after one's different responsibilities. For example, in family life, one needs to care for the members of the family, look after the house, etc., like that. But when one cultivates this knowledge, then he develops the understanding that actually this is not, this very nice apartment that I have is not my apartment, it is Krishna's apartment. And Krishna is residing. That's why we have the presence of the Lord in his deity form, or we have at least an altar in our home, knowing and understanding that actually this is the Lord's home, and all the members of the family are also servants of the Lord. Every situation, every family situation will be different, because I may have that consciousness, but then my brother or my sister or my father, they have a different consciousness. So every situation is different and has its own challenges. But the more we are clear in understanding what is the primary goal and purpose of life, then we will learn how to adjust in different situations, isn't it? Yeah. Not losing sight, and that's most important. We tend to lose sight of what is the primary goal and purpose of life by allowing ourselves unnecessarily to become overly entangled by so many things, isn't it? We are very limited in terms of what we can do. So many things are happening around us that over which we have absolutely no control. So we should not become overly anxious about so many things. Generally, we, because of our lack of understanding of some of these fundamental principles of what we call Krishna consciousness, we we get into a different type of bewilderment. Here, this bewilderment is different. We become bewildered. We become we are not able to see things clearly, and therefore, generally, most people don't practice regularly what we call sadhana. Sadhana means where we have a basic understanding that I am actually by nature spirit soul, and that, okay, I'm part of a family, I'm part of a society, I live in a particular country. We all have so many different material situations that influence us, but within that whole material situation, we need to cultivate this spiritual understanding. Otherwise, we will simply remain confused and bewildered, and ultimately we will make the wrong decisions in life, and we will never actually be able to understand and experience what is actual happiness, you see. So the perfection of life is not to get a degree and to make money and to get married, etc. These things are there, but the perfection of life is actually to cultivate this knowledge, understand our eternal identity, and this can more easily, or in many ways can only be done if we regularly hear from these literatures, if we regularly associate with devotees who are cultivating this knowledge like that. So naturally questions will be there, but the answers to whatever question we may have as young people are actually given in our Shastra, given by our acharyas. Yes.
Just a little extra that I was thinking that which pastimes relate to your question in Vrindavan. Krishna have many pastimes. So this is one pastime which Kunti Devi mentioned, and it is important for her. But there is another pastimes which is maybe you can study and you see how one person who have material engagement but still become pure devotee of Krishna. That's pastime is the Brahmanas. When the Brahmanas are living in Vrindavan or in the outskirts of Vrindavan, but still their career to make yagyas for satisfy Kamsa, the demonical person, and then they have hope to get some reward from Kamsa. They get some support from Kamsa. This is their career. So when we work for a big company, the head of the company, sorry if I make some mistake, but mostly not a pure devotee, and more probably someone who have a really selfish desire to get profit from young persons. But there was the Brahmanas who was living in Vraja, but they were not thinking of Krishna. When Krishna come to them or the boys, please give something to Krishna. No. What you are speaking about Krishna is nothing. But the wife of the Brahmanas, when they heard Krishna needs something, they were really ready to give anything. But what is the difference between the wife and the husband? They both are living in one family. The Acharya says that the difference was when this wife of Brahmanas were collecting many things for the yagyas, for their life. They met to the women, the gopis, and the other women who were really Krishna consciousness. And they took flowers from them, they took vegetables for them, and when they exchange, naturally they speak about, how are you? Oh my dear, how are you? And what was the next sentence? They spoke about Krishna. They spoke about Krishna's pastime. And then in this short exchange, when they got flower, when they got whatever they needed for the yagya, for the career, they have exchange, they have association with pure devotees. So whatever we have chance, we have to collect something, we have to find a devotional shop to get flower, have to get devotional vegetable shop, have to find a devotional phone shop, and then have a nice Krishna Katha when we get a new mobile. And then I'm sure very soon you will become a pure devotee if you associate with pure devotees in this way.
Yes, you have to get a devotional mobile
Yeah.
out, or whatever it may be. Yes, yes.
Whatever you need, find a devotee and support the devotee with your money, and devotee will support you with Krishna consciousness. And that's Varnashram also.
Yes, yes.
We build Varnashram on the devotional society, and we serve each other by projecting material things. That's also important why devotees have to have Varnashram, because they have daily association and they can speak shortly, but they can speak about Krishna's pastime.
Yes. Yes. So material things are there, but that devotional link, or spiritual link, particularly in terms of bhakti or devotion, which is only possible when we know about Krishna. Krishna being a person, Prabhupada used to say, if we want to speak about love, we have to speak about two people, not only one. So that's why in Vaishnava philosophy, love takes on a very particular meaning, because there is the lover and the beloved. There's Krishna and Krishna's devotees. So yeah, that's a very important point, that even though we may have to interact, I mean, most of us don't live in a holy dham. Most of us have different duties, responsibilities, but we keep that link or connection with devotees, a devotional aspect, and that when we add that to our life, then we learn to see things and do things differently. Yeah. Otherwise, if that it's like what we call a lifesaver. If somebody is drowning in the ocean, and you throw him a lifesaver, a rope. You throw him a rope.
Lifeboat.
Well, lifesaver is not a boat. It's just a
Ring.
your ring. Yeah, right. Then if a person holds on to that, then he can be saved. You know. So we are actually here. The whole material world is compared to a vast ocean, and all of us are drowning in this ocean. But if we are fortunate to get a line or a connection, then by holding on to this connection, which is actually the cultivation of knowledge, then we are safe. Otherwise, we just are in a helpless condition. We have so many hundreds and thousands of young men like yourselves in their early 20s, and they are students. Some of them are working, but they have understood the need and the importance of associating, keeping contact with devotees, and hearing and understanding, so that they can more easily deal with their material situation. We don't say you stop being a student. We don't say stop working wherever you're working, but our acharyas recommend you add on this whole dimension of spiritual life in a practical, systematic way in your life, and then that helps more easily direct your life and make the proper decisions, because we constantly have to make different decisions in life, and those decisions should be taken based on what is recommended, let's say, in the Shastra. Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the obeisances.
Yes.
I have a question that as we are in a student life, when you said that human beings have a loving propensity for other people,
Yes.
so we in a student life are, as in the Varnashram system, we are under brahmachari. So how could we channelize our love towards Krishna, or else our love moves from here and there, this person or that personality or some things. So how could we channelize our love towards Krishna?
How can we channelize our love for Krishna?
In our daily basis of life, means in daily things and daily activities,
Yes.
how could we channelize our love?
There are so many ways that one can channelize one's love for Krishna. For example, for those who are, we say, committed devotees. A committed devotee means, you see, we use the expression full-time devotee. Generally, we think of full-time devotee as somebody who's living in a temple, right? Somebody who's in Mayapur, or I don't know, ISKCON Calcutta temple, whatever. Yeah, he's a full-time devotee. But actually, all of us are meant to become full-time devotees. In that, we are meant to come to this understanding that actually, as an eternal spirit soul, my life will become successful if I fully dedicate myself to the primary goal and objective of life, which is to become Krishna conscious. So that means that whether one is living in the temple or whether one is living outside the temple, we can have that understanding and that commitment. And based on how well you understand that we should dedicate our lives to the Lord, then we perform different activities that will evoke and express our love for Krishna. For example, those who are fully committed, they practice what is called sadhana bhakti. You know about sadhana bhakti? Huh? So,
chanting and reading books.
have you know about this book, Nectar of Devotion? You have the book?
Yes,
You have?
yes.
Yeah. So in the Nectar of Devotion, Sri Rupa Goswami explains different practical ways in which we can express and evoke our love for Krishna. Like by chanting. You have a bead bag, right? Yeah. So you chant on beads, right? Yeah, right. So that is one of so many ways that we can evoke and express our love for Krishna. By so if I understand, that's your question, how to express our love for Krishna, is it? Yeah,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
yeah. So I mean, anytime, ultimately, our whole life is meant to be an expression of our love for Krishna. Means whatever we do, we conscientiously try to do it as an offering to Krishna. We try to find out what is actually pleasing to Krishna. So Krishna is especially pleased when we are doing our activities based on what we call on the principles of dharma. I mean, some specific things we can, like Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, patram pushpam phalam toyam. If one offers me with love and devotion, even simple things like a flower, like water. So every day, I think you're eating every day. You're eating every day, no? Yeah. Otherwise you wouldn't be here. So every day we eat, so whatever we eat first, before eating it, we offer to Krishna. So of course, not just, Krishna doesn't want us to do that just mechanically. He wants us that we should be conscious of what we're doing. Isn't it? We offer prayer before we take food. So many things actually that we can do and we should be doing. Slowly, gradually, if we develop this consciousness, that means that we are gradually awakening, evoking our loving propensity. We all have the ability, we all have the propensity to love Krishna. But most people who don't know about Krishna, they try to develop that loving propensity in a wrong way. You know, so the more one associates with devotees, one will learn so many different ways to actually awaken our loving propensity to Krishna. And the more we do this, we will ourselves, like Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, it also explains, susukam kartam avyayam, the same verse. Raja vidya rajaguyam pavitram idam utamam pratyakshava gamam dharmyam susukam kartam avyayam. Susukam means we will ourselves directly experience the happiness and satisfaction in doing something for Krishna, in trying to remember Krishna, in chanting the Lord's holy name, and serving the mission, Krishna's mission. Krishna has a mission, you see. Part of that mission is to bring people to Mayapur. So you're already doing that. Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes the service, like I click photographs for the lectures for Facebook page and all that.
Yes.
So means how to change, uplift the consciousness. Sometimes it feels like it's just mechanically I'm clicking photographs and editing in daily basis. But sometimes it feels mechanical. How to build my consciousness? Yes, I am clicking pictures.
Yes.
Lift up
Well,
my
it's not that every time you click you have to be in total ecstasy.
Why not?
Well, then you might stop clicking. It's a question of practice. I mean, sadhana bhakti actually means practice. That whatever we do, yes. I mean, some people, they are able to do things perfectly and in a very high consciousness. At the same time, in the Bhagavatam, not Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's that very nice lila, one of the very advanced and close associates of the Lord. He's praying that, he's fanning the Lord, and he's praying to Krishna, please help me to just do this service without becoming overly excited, because then I won't be able to do my service. You know. So on the one hand, we should not simply be mechanical in what we're doing, and then on the other hand, we should not be so ecstatic that we can't do our
Or you
service.
can be ecstatic but have to cover it until you are able to act.
Yes. It's like, cooking. If you're in too much ecstasy in cooking and you forget to put
And
the...
these things become salty.
then you're going to have some repercussions when prasadam is served out. You're going to get some feedback whether you ask for it or not, isn't it? So we have to balance our yeah. As a matter of fact, our acharyas also recommend that, because when we develop very intense emotions, then they sometimes can become like obstacles in performing our devotional activity. So it's a question of balancing, and in the initial stage, simply trying to do whatever it is we're doing as consciously, as nicely as possible, to please Krishna and to please Krishna's devotees. One nice way to please Krishna is to please Krishna's devotees, and to serve to serve his devotees, to serve whatever is dear to Krishna also. It's like Krishna is happy when we give a book to somebody and give them an opportunity to know about Krishna. There are many different ways like that.
Maharaj, okay, you can
Just very shortly, that when we are growing in Krishna consciousness, we need a consciousness of being a family member of Krishna conscious persons. Family member means we need a mother, like the Shastra could be our mother, and a father, spiritual master, and brothers, older brothers, who help us to develop that feelings which you are saying about. Feelings not coming immediately. Have to build up the feelings also, like the walls have to have a good basement, and then the walls strong. Feelings also need gratitude is the first basement. You have to be very grateful. You've got this Shastra. You don't have to yourself copy a bhagavatam or a Chaitanya Charitamrita. You just buy.
Yeah.
So easy. But we have to be grateful, and have to be grateful for persons who helps us. That's we build next more deep relationship and more deep emotions.
7:27.
3 minutes.
You have 1 minute.
Yes, Maharaj. So,
One of 3 minutes. Yes.
sometimes when we eat, sometimes it get more salt in the food.
Yes.
So then I tell my wife that today it is become bit salty. Then
Yes.
she tells, Lord is not complaining and you all the time.
Your wife is on the spontaneous platform. Your wife is chanting Hare Krishna?
Yes.
Okay. So you should not complain too much. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Sri Prabhupada ki, Gaur Premanandi.
His Holiness Bhakti Raghav Swami Maharaj ki.